Yeah, it's a brutal way to end the season. 2 games in PKs. Uh, yeah, season as a whole. I think as an organization, I'd say over the last, 3.5 years, 4 years that I've been here, we've made some humongous strides. But we still got a long way to go. And I know that I personally want to lift the MLS Cup here. And I know that we have players and coaches and management that want the same thing. So now it's about figuring out how to work harder, work smarter, get more results, be even more resilient, so that we can achieve something not just as a team, but as a city in this league.
Hello, Griffin over here. First of all, tough end to the season. I wanted to ask you about that goal at the Dev. Obviously, regardless of what happened after, can you describe just the emotions of that in that packed house?
Yeah. I mean, I think the last 2 games kind of described the last 2 home games that we've had describe the amount of want that we have in this organization. We're never going to quit. We are always going to keep going. And now it's just about continuing to figure out how to work smarter and get to where we want to get to.
Hi, Griff. So the team made it now 2 years in a row to playoffs. But what do you think is necessary to make that jump to be in the MLS Cup or win one next year?
That's a fantastic question. I would emphasize the work that needs to be put in personally, as a team, as an organization, and as a city. I think we just got to keep working, and we got to figure out how to work harder. We got to figure out how to work smarter. We got to figure out where we need to keep working. But work is what's going to get us there, and I firmly believe that.
And another one for me, just the fans, right? You rile them up. Once again, I have to ask you this. I feel like I ask you every time, but how much do they mean to you, and how much do you want to thank them for these last 2 games?
Everything. I mean, I think the fans mean everything to everybody in that locker room tonight. You guys are the reason that we do it, period. I can say personally that you guys are the reason that I was able to keep running in the 90-plus minute tonight. Without you, I'm cooked. So I appreciate it. And I would say that all the hard work that we do day in and day out is for you guys. And so keep supporting us because we need it. That's what fuels us. So thank you.
Hey, Griffin, tough way to go out tonight. What was the message that Ben Olsen gave the team following this result?
I would say just as a group, I think that there's some positives to take away from the season. And I think, the organization is proud of where we've gotten to. And understanding that, we ended this year not where we wanted to be. And we need to figure out how to keep going, how to keep pushing, how to get back to where we were last year. And I'm going to say it again, but raise an MLS Cup here because that we have the group to do it. We have the management to do it. We have the organization to do it. We have the city to do it.
And then pre-red card, seemed game 2, you guys created a lot of dangerous opportunities that you weren't able to do in Seattle. What was the difference or what was working here in Houston to be able to create those goal-scoring threats?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you've got your home fans, you got your home field, you've got family, you've got people backing you, I think it's easier to play. And I think this year we proved that not only can we do it at home, but we can do it away, which I think is something that this organization has taken a huge stride in. But I mean, I'll I'll be the first to say it. The field crew that we have for the Houston Dynamo is the best in the MLS, and I think they're a true reason why we can do what we are able to do out there. And it's great for the midfield, which ultimately ends up being great for me, great for the wide guys. And I think that there's just a willingness to keep pushing, and this group's always got it when it's a game that really is a winner go home type of game.
And my last question is, kind of broke out on the scene last year. How would you rate your season this year? And are there any aspects of your game that you'll be working to improve this offseason?
Of course, there's always aspects of the game that need to be improved. There's no doubt about that. My season as a whole, I would say I took a stride in my maturity, my ability to take on an entire season. That's the first season I've had where I'm from start to finish, really with the team, starting, playing on a consistent basis. So from that standpoint, I would say it was really good. And I think, once again, there's a lot to work on still. Composure in the final third, finding the final cross, continuing to score goals, and obviously some defending stuff that I'll continue to work on.
Hey, Griff. Just wanted to ask you about the Seattle game in general. Just Ben mentioned it a little bit. 4 red cards in the last 6 matches between each other. What is it about their playing style, that makes it, I guess, so frustrating? Or, yeah. And I know you had a battle as well with a Nuhu all game. So just curious about that battle between each other.
Yeah. No, I got a lot of respect for Nuhu. I've gone up against him a multitude of times. He's a fantastic player, a fantastic competitor. And I love that. That gets me in the game as much as it probably gets him in the game. I would say that when you're playing in any game, there's always going to be emotions. And I think Seattle is, I would say over the last, at least my generation, Seattle's a team that's always right at the top. And so they require your best effort every time you play against them. And to their credit, they stand strong. So I've got nothing but respect for that type of competitiveness, that type of winning mentality. And I think that causes tension in games, that causes excitement, that causes emotions.
And just obviously tough way to go out, losing 2 back-to-back penalty shootouts. But, going into the offseason, how do you go back and get grounded? I know you meditate, but, what does the offseason look for you after such tough season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I haven't even gotten that far. I think there will definitely be some time off. But after that, it's back to work. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This organization's got high hopes, and we, speaking for myself, and I would say speaking for everybody in that locker room, we know that we can win an MLS Cup. And so now it's about figuring out how to do that. And I think the offseason's the best place to start.
On the back.
Hey, Griff. Just kind of walk me through what your feelings are, emotions are right now. I know you just kind of got eliminated, but having to play that type of game, 98 minutes, PKs, the fans were on their roller coaster. What's it like for you to be in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can empathize with that roller coaster the fans are going through. We're going through it just as much. It's crazy how many ups and downs there are in just a single game. But if you look back to the entire season, you're riding a roller coaster sometimes 3 times a week, and you got to figure out how to stay grounded, stay connected, and keep the lows and the highs at a minimum. And so I think, this is a great example of that. And I think the end of this season was a great example of that with games with such crazy emotions. It's how can you stay centered and try to keep yourself from getting too high and too low, because it's really easy to go there when you're riding that roller coaster.
And Ben earlier in the week said, games like this, playoff games, you really have to be at your best. Tonight, it seemed like you guys were there with the shots on goals and the opportunities and such. Just kind of, what do you feel the difference was, in regular time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a red card hurts, and beyond that, I would say, I think in both games, when you look at where we were at, I think in the 60th minute of both the games, I think we were in a really good spot, and it's just tough to go out where, we were down a man and we're fighting. When you come from that, little bit of a disadvantage, it's really hard.
Hey, Griff. Ben said that you guys beat yourselves, with in both games. Would that be the way you see this game or this, playoff series?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one detail that we knew about Seattle is they're never going to beat themselves, and I think you've seen it for countless years. They're dialed in when it comes to the little details of the game, and in order to beat a team like Seattle, you have to nail in the little details. And so, I would say that we did a pretty good job, but there were details that fell through the cracks that I think ultimately hurt us. With that being said, there's no excuses. So, I think I can speak for myself, gave everything that we had, and we weren't good enough. So at this point, it's back to the drawing board, and the off season's a great time to once again figure out ways that we can all improve.
Ben said, Mikael is probably the team's MVP this season just because of how consistently good he's been. What can you tell us about his progression, from the beginning of the season to now, the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. He's one of the most athletic players I've played with. His range of passing has gotten so much better. His confidence on the ball has gotten so much better. I also have a lot of respect for the work that he puts in on a daily basis. You can really see why he's taking the strides he's taking. When I see him on a daily basis, there's a reason, there's a method to the madness, and his work rate is one of the top that I've seen. So I have a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for the growth that he's made. It's special to watch, special to be a part of, and he's a special player to play with.
Final question. Now that you guys are out of the playoffs, are you the kind of player that is going to watch the end of these MLS playoffs, or you just need to close it down and go on your own thing?
We'll see. I have a few friends around the league that I'll probably keep an eye on, just because that's what I enjoy. But beyond my friends, I don't really care.
Thank you, Griff.
Yeah.
Anything else in the room? All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you.
Yeah.